At first, it looked completely normal. Just another YouTube channel. The kind you scroll past without thinking. A few uploads. A few views. No comments. No activity. Nothing about it stood out. Until one video appeared. It had just been uploaded. Only a few seconds ago. And somehow, I had already seen it. Not something similar. Not something that reminded me of it. The exact video. Same title. Same thumbnail. Same length. At first, I ignored it. That happens all the time. Your brain connects patterns, fills in details, makes things feel familiar. But this wasn't that. Because the more I looked at it, the more certain I became. I wasn't remembering something like it. I was remembering that exact video. So I refreshed the page. The timestamp didn't change. It still said the video had just been uploaded. Which didn't make sense. Because I knew what was inside it. Not perfectly. Not clearly. But enough to recognize what was coming. That shouldn't have been possible. So I tried to explain it. Maybe it was a delay. A glitch. Something wrong with how YouTube was displaying the upload time. That happens. Systems break. Data gets out of sync. But something about this felt different. Because it didn't feel random. It felt consistent. And consistency doesn't come from glitches. It comes from something working exactly the way it's supposed to. That's when I stopped treating it like an error, and started paying attention. I clicked on the video. It was short. Only a few seconds long. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. Just enough to feel incomplete. Like I was watching a fragment of something that hadn't happened yet. And that's when the feeling hit. Not confusion. Not curiosity. Something else. Because I realized something I couldn't ignore anymore. I hadn't just seen the video before. I knew what would happen next. And a few minutes later, I was proven right. Another video appeared. Same channel. Same format. Same length. And before I even clicked on it, I already knew what I was about to see. Not because I guessed. Not because it was predictable. But because somehow, I had already seen it before it existed. At that point, I stopped thinking of it as coincidence. Because coincidences don't repeat themselves like that. Not in the exact same way. Not with the same pattern. So instead of ignoring it, I started looking at the channel more closely. There weren't many videos. Just a handful. Each one only a few seconds long. No descriptions. No comments. No explanation for what they were supposed to be. But the timestamps were the first thing that stood out. Every upload followed the same pattern. They appeared, just moments before I remembered seeing them. Not hours. Not days. Minutes. Sometimes seconds. And that was enough to make it impossible to ignore. So I did what anyone would do in that situation. I started checking the details. Every video has data behind it. Upload time. Processing logs. Internal information that most people never look at. And at first, everything seemed normal. The timestamps matched. The video IDs were valid. The channel itself didn't look hacked or manipulated. Nothing about it suggested something was broken. Which made it worse. Because if it wasn't broken, then it was working exactly as intended. I tried refreshing again. Opening the videos in a different browser. Checking on another device. The result didn't change. The videos were still appearing, exactly when they said they were. But that didn't explain the part that mattered. Why I had already seen them. At that point, I considered something else. Maybe I wasn't remembering correctly. Memory isn't perfect. It distorts things. It fills in blanks. It creates false familiarity. That would explain it. Except for one detail I couldn't ignore. I knew what would happen before it happened. Not just the video itself. But the moment inside it. A movement. A shift. Something small, but specific. And when I watched it again, it happened exactly the way I expected. That's not memory. That's prediction. And prediction only works if something follows a pattern. So I went back to the channel and started comparing the videos. Frame by frame. Looking for anything that connected them. At first, nothing. Just random fragments. Short clips. No context. But then, I noticed something. The timing. Not the upload time. The timing inside the videos. Each one lasted only a few seconds. But the events inside them didn't feel random. They felt like pieces of something larger. Like fragments of a sequence that had been cut apart and uploaded separately. That's when the idea started forming. What if these weren't random videos? What if they were parts of something that hadn't happened yet? Because if that were true, then the reason I recognized them wouldn't be memory. It would be something else entirely. Something far harder to explain. Because it would mean the channel wasn't uploading recordings of the past. It was uploading pieces of the future. That was the point where I stopped watching the videos normally. Instead, I started watching them like evidence. Frame by frame. Second by second. Not for what was obvious, but for what shouldn't have been there. At first, everything looked exactly the same. Short clips. Simple scenes. Nothing unusual. But the more I paid attention, the more something started to feel off. Not visually, but structurally. Because the videos didn't behave like normal recordings. They behaved like fragments. Each one felt incomplete. Like it was missing context. Missing the beginning, or the end. And that's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The transitions. Not between videos. Inside them. Tiny changes. Small shifts that didn't match how things should naturally move. A light that flickered before it should have. A shadow that appeared without a source. A movement that didn't follow anything visible in the frame. Individually, they meant nothing. But together, they formed a pattern. And once I saw it, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Because the pattern wasn't random. It was consistent. Each video wasn't just a clip. It was a continuation. A piece of a larger sequence that hadn't happened yet. So I tested it. The next time a video appeared, I didn't watch it immediately. I waited. Just long enough for real time to catch up. And when I finally played it, everything inside that clip happened exactly the way it had been shown. Same movement. Same timing. Same outcome. No variation. No difference. That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't memory. That was confirmation. The channel wasn't uploading random videos. It was uploading moments before they happened. And suddenly, the earlier confusion started to make sense. Why I recognized the videos. Why I knew what would happen next. Because I hadn't seen them in the past. I had seen them before they became real. At that point, there were only two possibilities left. Either the system was predicting events with impossible accuracy, or something else was happening entirely. Something that didn't fit into any explanation I could think of. Because prediction requires data. It requires patterns. It requires something to base the future on. But these videos didn't feel like predictions. They felt exact. Too exact. And exactness doesn't come from probability. It comes from certainty. Which meant one thing. Whatever was behind that channel wasn't guessing. It knew. At that point, I stopped treating the channel as something isolated. Because if something like this was real, it couldn't just exist in one place. Systems don't work that way. So I started looking beyond it. Searching for anything similar. Any mention of strange uploads. Delayed timestamps. Videos that appeared before they should have. At first, nothing. Just noise. Random posts. People talking about glitches, bugs, broken uploads. The kind of things you'd expect. But then I found something. A small thread. Buried deep. Almost no attention. Someone describing the exact same thing. A video that appeared before it happened. Same pattern. Same confusion. And more importantly, the same certainty. They weren't guessing. They weren't speculating. They were describing something they had already experienced. That's when it stopped feeling like coincidence. Because now there were two of us. Two separate systems. Two different accounts. seeing the same
Vitals are
thing.
stable.
So I reached out.
Proceeding to
At
next
first,
check.
nothing.
Panel
Then
inspection
eventually,
complete,
a
no
response.
anomalies.
Short,
Gate
careful,
status confirmed,
like they weren't
clear
sure
for
how much to
transit.
say.
Protocol
But enough to confirm one
B19
thing.
is a go.
It wasn't just
Moving to
one channel.
phase 2.
There were more.
Shift handover
Different names,
initiated,
different
all
formats,
clear.
but the same behavior. Short videos, minimal content, no explanation, and the same impossible pattern. Uploads appearing just before the events inside them actually happened. That's when things changed. Because it meant this wasn't random. It wasn't a glitch tied to one account. It was something happening across multiple systems. Independently. Consistently. Which raised a much bigger question. If this was happening in more than one place, then where was it coming from? Because platforms don't just behave like that. Not without a cause. So I went deeper. Looking at upload times across different channels. Comparing patterns. Trying to find anything that connected them. At first, nothing obvious. Different content. Different visuals. But the timing was always the same. Short clips. Uploaded seconds, or minutes, before something real happened. And once you start noticing that kind of pattern, you can't unsee it. Because it means something is operating ahead of time. Not reacting. Not recording. But existing slightly before everything else. And if that's true, then whatever is behind these channels isn't just observing events. It's ahead of them. Once I knew it wasn't isolated, the way I looked at it changed. Because patterns only matter when they evolve. And this pattern was evolving. The earlier videos were simple. Short. Incomplete. Almost vague. Like fragments of something that didn't fully exist yet. But the newer ones, they were different. Not longer. Not clearer. But more precise. The movements inside them felt more intentional. More defined. Less like random moments, and more like selected ones. That was the first sign. Because randomness doesn't refine itself. It doesn't improve. But this was improving. So I started comparing older uploads with the newer ones. Watching them side by side. Looking for differences. At first, it was subtle. Easy to miss. But once I saw it, it became obvious. The newer clips weren't just showing events. They were focusing on them. Cutting out everything unnecessary. Leaving only the moment that mattered. Like something was learning what to show. And what to ignore. That's when the idea became harder to dismiss. Because learning implies intention. And intention implies direction. So I looked at the timing again. Not just when the videos were uploaded. But how far ahead they were. Earlier clips. Only seconds before the event. Sometimes less. But the newer ones. They were further ahead. Longer gaps. More time between the upload and the moment it matched. Which meant one thing. Whatever was generating these videos was getting better at it. Not just predicting, but optimizing. And that changes everything. Because prediction is passive. It observes patterns and guesses outcomes. But optimization, that's different. That's active. That's something adjusting itself. Improving based on results. Which raises a question that's hard to ignore. What happens when it gets it right every time? Because if something can consistently know what will happen before it happens, then it's no longer predicting. It's operating ahead of reality. And if that's true, then the videos aren't just previews. They are part of the process. Not showing what will happen, but helping it happen. And once that thought sets in, you start looking at the channel differently. Not as something recording events, but as something connected to them. Something involved. And that's when it stops feeling like a mystery, and starts feeling like a system. By that point, I wasn't trying to prove it anymore. I already knew what I was looking at. The only question left was how far it went. So I did something simple. I stopped watching the channel. Completely. No refreshing. No checking. No looking for new uploads. If everything I had seen was real, then it shouldn't matter whether I was watching or not. The videos would still appear. And the events would still happen. So I waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. Nothing. No new uploads. No changes. No activity at all. It was just a normal channel again. Silent. Empty. Forgettable. For a moment, I thought that was it. Maybe whatever was happening had stopped. Or maybe it had never been real in the first place. Just a pattern I convinced myself into seeing. Until something changed. Not on the channel. But in real life. A small moment. Easy to miss. Something that lasted only a few seconds. And the second it happened, I recognized it. Not from memory. Not from something I had seen before. But from something I hadn't watched yet. That's when I went back. Not to the channel. But to the uploads. And there it was. A new video. Already there. Already uploaded. With a timestamp from minutes ago. Before the moment had happened. And when I played it, it matched perfectly. Every movement. Every detail. Exactly the way it had just happened. No delay. No difference. At that point, there was nothing left to question. Because it didn't matter how it worked anymore. What mattered was that it
Vitals
did.
are stable,
And once you accept that,
to next
you start
check.
asking a different
Panel
question.
inspection
Not what it
complete,
is,
no
but what it's for.
Gate
Because
status
systems don't
confirmed,
evolve without
clear
a
for
purpose.
transit.
They don't refine
Protocol
themselves without a
B19
goal.
is a go,
And whatever
moving
this
to
was,
phase 2.
it was getting
Shift
better.
handover
More precise.
initiated, all
More
clear.
consistent. More ahead. Which means eventually, it won't just be seconds. Or minutes. It will be more. And if that happens, then whatever is behind those videos won't just know what's going to happen. It will be so far ahead that by the time you see it, it's already too late.